Hey, what's up, world? It is your girl, Dr. J, here with an explosive episode for today. I have an amazing guest with me, Neeshawn Ferdinand, and we're going to be
Yeah.
talking about her story. So here's the thing with her story. Her story goes back some years. We were actually chatting before getting started with our call today, and I'm just taken aback by how long we've known each other and the special connection that we share. So our topic is going to focus around autism today, and I'm going to stop right there. So it's Neeshawn's story plus autism and the lessons that we can learn from this. And Neeshawn, I say this because when I was thinking up the show, hashtag it could have been me, what I found out was that as women, we go through some remarkable obstacles and we
Oh,
survive them.
yes.
But
Yeah.
not a lot of us talk about how we
Yes.
survived and how we ended up thriving. And so I created this space to hear, okay, well, what does Nishan have to share? Because maybe I'm going through it. And maybe I'm too
Correct.
nervous to say something, but hearing your
Yes.
story and having you here on this platform, now that we're international, it is
Yes, ma'am.
it's huge. It's huge. It's huge. So, if I had some sound effects right now, they would go like this.
Yes.
And Nisha, with you just being here. So I'm mindful of our time together, the next few minutes. To everyone watching, I could talk to this woman for days on days. But
Yes,
you
ma'am.
you you get the blessing of getting a sneak preview of this woman because even though she's on this podcast today, I can see her being in Hollywood and talking to Oprah and everybody else about her journey. So, Nishan, won't you introduce yourself to the world? Who are you?
Hey, beautiful. How are you?
Yeah.
My name is Neeshawn Ferdinand. I am originally from the Virgin Islands, so let's start there.
Okay.
I am currently a CBVE teacher, also an ESC teacher at Evans High School here in Orlando, Florida. I am
Okay.
also a student analyst. Um,
Okay.
I aspire to finish my board certification test to become a BCBA. So
Okay.
pray for me, guys. So
We'll
this
do. We'll do.
journey could be.
Now, Nishan, I don't mean to interrupt you, and I rarely interrupt my guests, but you threw out a lot of letters, C, B, C. You got to break all that down for us. What
Ah,
does all this
so the
mean?
CBVE program we have at Evans High School is for my seniors.
Mm,
My seniors and my kids that are returning students, like they graduated and came back. So
okay.
it's featuring like my son, Jahleke, that we're going to be talking about. So these are our babies that graduated. They're finished
Mm.
and we bring them back to give them job skills. So we're taking them
Oh.
out into the community. We partner right now with Goodwill and
Mm.
also with Publix grocery store, where we
Oh.
go literally 4 days out of the week for them to have 2.5 hours of job related skills,
Oh,
like
nice.
literally hands on. So
Nice.
when you go, you will see our babies. They're, bagging. They're interacting with people. They're on the production line. They have been useful in so many ways. But I earlier today I did an interview about Jahleke
Mm-hmm.
with the news over here, and I was telling them it's so amazing to see the growth, not only for my baby, not only for Jahleke, but for the kids that I am overseeing.
Mm.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That's people when I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to do this. Sometimes I could go in panic mode. And
Mm.
especially when God has something for you and you don't really understand at that moment, it is scary, more scary than scary.
Yes.
And earlier this year, I was in I'm going to quit mode. I am not doing
Mhm.
this. And I had some not so nice words to say.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
when I
Mm.
tell you watching these babies grow have been a joy.
Nice.
Um, I did things this year that I tell people all the time, like, I am such a busy woman. I don't have time to volunteer.
Yeah.
But I find my time myself this year volunteering. At
Okay.
the school, we literally open a CBVE lab. It's not up and
Mhm.
running yet,
Okay.
where I took a classroom and I turned it into a literally an apartment. so that these
Oh.
kids could literally, yeah, it's section out. This is the bedroom. This is the living room. This is
Mm.
um, the area to for them to grocery shop. Here is the
Mm.
laundromat. And people have come in and was like, who thought about things like this? Parents who want the best for their kid. And
Yes.
I'm not doing it just because Jahleke is there, because I started before Jahleke got there.
Yeah.
So I had it in mind, like, man, if this was my kid, you
That's
know,
mm.
my
So,
journey. So the CBVE is that. The
okay.
BCA is board certified behavior analyst.
Mhm.
Um, so I am hoping to finish, take this test, and
Yes.
get there so that I could be a certified behavior analyst.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Now, if you don't mind me, I'm gonna step on the gas here a bit because I feel like you're teasing us. And I'm like, I want to hear the story. I want to hear the story. So you mentioned your son, Jahleke.
Yes.
Who's Jahleke?
So,
Why is he so extraordinary? But wait. And then so tell us about Jahleke and then let the audience know how we met so we can get that connection going and we'll continue to flow.
so let's talk about who Jahleke is. So it's funny, 20 years ago, well, 19, let's go 19 years ago, when I had him, I was just telling this crazy story. I had his sister prior to him,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
months later, I got pregnant. This is going to be a little
Mm,
personal, right?
all right.
So I was like, not in the best place.
Yeah.
Dr. J, financially, I was down. I'm a product of welfare, food stamp,
Mhm,
you name it.
mhm.
I was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And I told her that I was like, I will never have a next kid for you.
Mm,
Like, I'm done. And I called the abortion clinic.
yeah.
This is a true story. And when
Really?
I did that, the lady was so mean. And I tell you, God do things. You think people just mean because they want to be mean, but they're not.
Hmm.
And when she told me, I said, well, what is the like what could happen to, what is the
Yeah.
risk? And she was so not, she was like, well, you could bleed out, you could die on the table. I was like, whoa, wow. Nevertheless, let me continue real quick. I told the dad, I was like, I don't care if I die, I'd rather die before I have another baby. He was like,
Mm.
listen, I have my income tax coming back, and we're just gonna go ahead and do it. Dr. J, my son is here today. That check never came. Jahleke is here. So when people ask me who he is, he was supposed to be an abortion kiddo down the
Mm.
tubals. God had a plan for this boy. When he came in, I did not know. When he was in daycare. When he was in daycare, they kicked him out. He was just crying. They said, something is wrong with this
Hey.
boy. Something is wrong with this kid.
Wow.
Me being young, my mom died when I was young, so I had no real guidance. I was just kind of doing the best that I could.
Of course.
And his doctor came in and she was like, well, he's underweight. He's this.
Mm.
And to me, I felt like she was attacking me as a parent. But
Mm.
time that I went, by the time that I went there, he was 60% deaf because he had fluids in his
Really?
ear. Yes, he was 60% deaf because he had fluids in his ear. And then he had to go through all those different surgeries and everything
What
just to
kind
get where
of
he
surgery?
so they had to go into the tube canals and literally release the fluids and stuff like that. So by the time he got to school, the school age, um Jahleke was just trying to find out who he is at that time,
Mm.
you know?
Mm.
And I remember when I sat at the table, Dr. J, they told me, your son is retarded. And I had no idea because in my country and my culture, we do not have, we do not know kids of such magnitude. And that's just the reality.
Mm. Yeah.
Our retarded kids is deformation. We never know that it could be cognitive. So I remember looking
Mm.
over, I said, my kid, my baby, but
Hmm.
I knew something was different about him.
Hmm.
He started talking, mama, and then he regressed. He couldn't walk.
Hmm.
Then he started to walk. and then he couldn't walk. And I'm like, what's happening?
Wait, so how old was he when you started noticing all of this?
So I'm gonna go a little bit at that point when I had Jahleke, I was also in the process of just being homeless, right?
Mm.
And my grandmother said, thank God for grandmother. She said, just come home. So by the time I went home, it was literally Jahleke was probably 6 months, seven
Oh,
months. So by the time he turned 1, he was with my family back home. They did everything. He went to doctors, regular visits. And here we go. They go, something is wrong with Jahleke. Jahleke is not listening to us. He's not hearing. And because we are not educated about autism,
yeah.
I have never heard about autism until I had my son.
Mm.
Even now in the islands, they don't really normalize that, right? So
Mm.
by the time he got here with me, he was skinny, tiny, just not eating regular foods, and we just thought he was just being stubborn.
Right,
No,
right. Mm.
no. Jilly, come here. Jilly, come here. Jilly would not come. He just couldn't hear us.
Really?
So he went to changes, but once again, here we have God just working, right? And I remember
Mm.
this one white guy, I wish I could remember his name, but it's almost what, how much years ago?
Yeah,
And he stood up in the gap for Jahleke, and he said, when the lady said Jahleke is mildly retarded,
yeah.
he said, let's think about this for a minute. We have this little baby who literally just learned to walk, learned to talk. We're not even giving him a chance.
Wow.
And I never forget this guy. He was like, I am not going to sign off for him to go to self-contained. You're going to try.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. So who is Jahleke, right? I, I I used to be telling them he was selective mute. He would not talk to the people at school. And then he would come home and he would just try his best to talk to mommy. And I keep telling them, no, Jahleke could talk. They said, no, mommy's delusional, mommy's crazy. And one day he
Wow.
really wanted some juice and he goes, can I have some juice, please? And
Oh,
everybody lost it. They called me. They went out, they purchased juice. They did like, Dr. J, when I tell you, I was like, but I told you guys. So
wow.
who is Jahleke, right?
Mm.
Jahleke is a boy that teaches himself things that interest him, right?
Mm.
So let's go. One, they said, well, he needs to go to the neurologist. We need to check his brain. We went, and then the doctor goes, well, let me just give him the phone to keep him busy. So he said, what's going on? And we're talking. Jahleke cracked the code in his phone. I just started sliding through the doctor's phone. By that time, Jahleke was probably maybe 7.
Really
He called everybody. He was like, this kid just went through my whole phone and it was locked.
gifted.
By the time he was diagnosed, he went to Phyllis Whitley.
Hmm.
Actually, no, let's go back. He didn't go there first. He went to Dorsha Elementary. There
Okay.
is where I met the first teacher that they told me, Jahleke needs to go to self-contained. Let's talk about self-contained for a little minute. A lot of time educators make it sound so good, Dr. J. Some of them, yes, it is really a good placement for some, but not for all. So when you have
Mm.
Jahleke, Jahleke is one of those babies that's in the middle of the spectrum. So we have
Okay.
very low functioning, very high functioning, but nobody really talks about the ones that's just right here. Um,
Mm.
I am definitely too high to be with the low functioning ones, but I'm definitely too low to be also with the high functioning ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what do we do with this one right here?
Mm.
And that's where it is with him. And they told me, go ahead, sign him. It was nice. And once again, just being young, I signed him over to self-contained. This
Mm.
teacher came up and she said, do you really know what you're doing? I said, this is a
Really?
small setting. And she was like, girl, do not sign that paper. And me and
What?
Gary, and for those of guys who don't know who Gary is, he is my best friend, my other half, not my husband, right? And we looked at each other and he goes, I'm going to tell you what to write. And she told us how to write the letter up, telling them
Wow.
we do not want to. We want them to work on Jahleke.
Well, so wait, so Nisha, I don't mean to interrupt, but it sounds like intervention. Like people are always intervening on your behalf to show you the way
Oh,
to
wait.
stop you and say, go this way, go a different route. Wow.
And this is even before I met you. The challenges I met with this little boy, oh man.
Wow.
And we did that. And then one guy told me, I'm doing you a favor. He was a AP. I'm doing you a favor by keeping Jahleke here. By that time, I was so frustrated. And here comes, once again, I can't remember her name either. It's been so long. She was one of those she was a coach at the North Learning Center. And she said, she called me one day. She's like, hey, Miss Ferdinand. I was like, listen, I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm done. Da, da,
Yeah.
da. I'm just looking for some place to put my son because she said, what's going on? And I told her what the guy said, like he was doing me a favor. She was like, absolutely. What?
Wow.
And she said, let me tell you something. Here's where God intervenes, right? He said, let
Mm.
me tell you something. That is Jahleke's homeschool. And by law, they have to service him at that school. That was the first law that I learned through OCPI.
Really?
I did. So the next time he came to me, and I know she went after them because the next he was like, Mr. Ferdinand, can I talk to you real quick? I was like, no,
Oh.
no, we're done. You're not.
Mm.
But then I moved on to Phyllis Whitley, right?
Mhm,
So who
mhm.
Jahleke is all of this for one kid. That's a J, all of this, and it never ends. Um, I walked into the school, and you have teachers that is telling me, I have been an educator for 20 something years, and I have
Mm,
never seen a kid like this.
mm.
As a parent,
And
you
they'll
don't know.
tell you that?
Oh, and I used to go into Phyllis Whitley before they tear it down, and I would sit in the back with Jahleke just because I wanted him to just sit and learn.
Mm.
Then there was like, well, I'm trying. Mom needs to leave. Mom needs to go. Like that. That's a by the time I look around, me and the teacher
Wow.
bumping heads. By
Wow.
the time they were done with me, I ended up signing Jahleke over to another school because I was so exhausted,
Really?
self-contained. And when that happened, Jahleke came home, and I shared that on my Facebook, the story with his sister. He was already potty trained, but they called me, oh, Jahleke had an accident. And so, I'm already mad.
Yeah.
Jahleke came home, just tiny little thing. And I was like, Jahleke, why did you? And I'm yelling at him, like, these people want you to be out of their school. Why would you do that? And you know better. And that's a J in a rage. I spanked him. I was like, and my daughter said, Mommy, please beat me. Just beat me instead.
Oh.
She's like, Mommy, I'll clean him. Mommy. And I just started crying, only for me to find out that he did ask to go to the bathroom. And the teacher said, wait, hold it.
Oh.
He couldn't
Oh.
hold it. He's a baby.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
crazy mama. I walked in there the next day. I was like, give me my kid.
Mm.
Sign him up. Give me my kid. Give me my kid. I tried this self-contained thing. It's not working. Took him
Mm.
back over to the next school. This is all who Jahleke is. He's a hold. Ugh. And I took him back over to Phyllis Whitley. And I remember Mr. Brown, which was the principal at the time, and
Mhm.
I said to him, I'm ready. I want my son. He was like, wait a minute. Jahleke can't come back here to my school. I said, I'm
Mm.
sorry. He's like, he cannot come here. I'm not going to. I said, what are you telling me? He cannot, or you don't want him here? And
Mm.
I had to kind of change the voice a little bit. So he
Yeah.
said, I'm saying, no, he's not coming here. I said, okay. By then I was not working,
Mm.
and I was just home with Julie because that's all I could do. Every day they was calling me. I really couldn't hold a job. This is how the story really is for a lot of parents. We cannot hold a job without
Why do you
support.
say so? Say more about that. Why do you say that? Why is it hard for parents?
So parents that have kids with autism or any disability,
Mm.
we cannot hold a job because most of the time people that we trust with our kids, like when he was going to the daycare, most people don't know how to deal with them. The
Mm.
outbursts, the cries. Okay, well, if they're crying, are they really crying because they want food? No, maybe they're hot. Maybe, but remember,
Mm.
they don't have a voice. They can't say, Dr. J, I really just want to sit here. Dr. J, my
Yeah.
skin hurts, or
Yeah.
I have a pain. So it's kind of like with these kiddos, we have to kind of guess. And some
Mm.
people are stuck in their ways and they don't want to guess.
Mm.
They don't want to do like here in ABA, we do prediction, right?
Okay.
We sit there and the kids scream, "Ah," that doesn't mean his heart falling out. That
Right.
means he's probably hot.
Right.
That could mean he's sitting there and he got bored.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because he can't verbally tell me that that's what it is, he did an
Mm.
action for us to know, hey, this is what's happening to me. So
Mm.
I was called to the school oh man, as soon as I sat in the classroom, I flunked out of school too. This, listen,
Really?
I flunked out of school too because I couldn't stay. And
Mhm.
back then, listen, you see all this nice technology we had.
Didn't have it.
Let's go
Wow.
online,
Didn't
and
have it.
you had to go in class to do it.
Yep.
I started, so I
Mm.
owe a lot of student loans, by the way, right?
Yeah, but
For classes that I didn't even finish. But
Mm.
I had to put that on hold. I remember one teacher, she had to write this whole long thing about me so they could kind of forgive, what is that called? The probationary
Yep.
hearing for my
Mm.
student loan. It's been yes. So I remember, let me finish. I went back to that Mr. Brown and he said, no. I went home, took a shower, covered my tattoos, and I went straight to the Senate office. I took my son
Really?
and I went straight to the Senate office. I said, my name is Neeshawn Ferdinand. This is my son, Jahleke Lewis. So this is who he is. I said, they denied my son from coming into school. And then I told them, just know by the afternoon, the attorneys for Orange County was calling me. Miss Ferdinand, Miss Ferdinand, what is going on? How can we help you? What is this? What is that? Dr. J, this is before your time.
Wow.
Before I met you, when Sarah Corin, which is the attorney at the time for Orange County,
Mhm.
she came in to meet me. And I think they thought when the attorney came in, it would intimidate me.
Yeah.
But little that they know, Jahleke mom, I told them that today in the interview earlier today, before I am book sense, I am street sense,
Oh, yes.
all street girl. Don't get it
Mhm.
twisted. All. So I let you educate me.
Mm.
I sit there and I hear, I listen, and then I use it all back at you. And by the time I was done with them, the
Mm.
attorneys was crying. Everybody was doing something.
Wow.
And we could fast forward because from there on, everybody's on eggshell, eggshell,
Mm.
eggshell. And then I started learning my rights. But here's the crazy part. They say if you want to hide something from Black folks, put it where? In a
In a
book.
book. Yeah.
I hate to read, honestly, right? Let's just be real.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I let these people teach me how to fight them. And that's what I tell a lot of my parents that's uneducated. I say, when you get there, go with an open mind. Let them teach you everything you need. You sit
Mm.
there and you learn laws.
Mm.
Sometimes I would smile. I know you have sat in some meeting with me, and I'm like, I
Mm.
bet. And I'll
Mhm.
be like, I'm gonna tell you what you're finna do. It's not
Hmm.
because I always know, it's because I sit and I hear everybody in the room going, and I just pick pieces to make it make sense. But by the
Yeah.
time I'm done, it was really the right one.
Very well. Very well.
And then we moved over to Phyllis Wheatley, where I met you. I think at that time they had the temporary school, right?
Yes.
And let's go. Here's where I met you. I talk about you, and I will forever talk about you because my heart is
Mm.
forever grateful. This young teacher came in eager, and we walking up, and I saw you, and I was like, Lord, she just looked young, like these kids gonna eat her up, boy. Lord Jesus, this ain't gonna be good for me, but I'm gonna try, Lord.
Yeah.
And I remember we walking, and I broke the ice, and I was like, I know they told you I'm crazy, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of like did this thing. I said, please tell me, just please tell me whatever you want me to do, I will do it.
Mm,
And Jesus know that was, I don't even want to get emotional again because I got emotional earlier when I talk about this story. And I said, help me help you to help him.
mm,
And I remember when I came into the classroom one day, he was like, Julie, get on that computer. And I was looking. Julie got up, he went in, and he was doing everything like the gen ed kids. How could I
mm,
ever repay you? Tell me where I
mm,
could begin to say thank you. We
mm,
sing your praises over. I celebrate your success with you. Not
mm,
because I don't call you every day, like, girl, every day I pray. I say, Father, just continue. Because
mm.
see, we don't know the impact we have made on people, kids' life. And I say we because now I'm an educator.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
even when Jahleke was a baby, they told me, hey, why don't you go to education? I said, not me.
yeah.
These kids gonna eat me up alive.
Yeah.
Today I'm an educator,
Look at
gen
you.
ed, then I'm now ESC. Now I'm
Wow.
pursuing. I literally just opened a business also in St. Croix,
Congratulations.
ADA. So it's not up and going yet, but God is making room. So who Jahleke really is, right? He is the
Mm.
founder of it all. The entertainer.
Mm.
He's a loving child. Right now, his love for music. So
Yes,
if I have to tell people about that, who he is, he's a musician at heart. He's a dancer for sure.
yes,
He's energetic, right?
yes.
And he's not shy. He have
No.
never been shy.
Mm-mm.
He's always the spotlight of
Yes.
it all.
Yeah.
And today I made a live again about these guys in my country. They're artists, right? And they took time to make Jahleke dream come true.
Mm.
Jahleke performed on the stage with one of them, even though it was so short. Jahleke went viral. Jahleke went viral. Autistic kid dances his heart out with Pumpa. He made it on their little when they do these shows, the advertisement, sorry.
Yeah,
He
yeah, yeah.
made it on
Oh,
their advertisement internationally. Autistic
wow.
boy. Who is Jahleke, right?
Oh,
Jahleke is unforgettable. Now,
yes.
as a parent, he will always be my baby. I know one day I have to let him fly,
Mm.
but it's how we let him fly, right?
Mm.
He have
Mm.
overcome so
Mm.
much, Dr. J. So parents, when they tell you he will never read, because they told me that. They said
Really?
Jahleke will never read. He will never write. He will never be self-sufficient. Jahleke is a kid now. He comes home. I could stay on my phone and I could literally watch him. He puts in his code. He come in. He have his routine. Takes a shower. Go. He eat. Come. He is so livable. And people
Amazing.
ask me, how did you guys do this? I'm gonna tell you this.
Mm.
And when I do therapy with people, the first thing I tell parents is this story, right?
Mm.
I said when Jahleke was younger, as parents, we want to cuddle our baby, especially when there's special need. We know they need extra
Mm.
love. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
reality. They need that extra cushion. And I went to
Mm.
put Jahleke. I think I told Gary like to help Jahleke with his shoes, and then I heard Gary's like, "Put your shoes on. Put your shoes on." I'm like,
Uh-huh.
is he yelling at my baby? But when Gary disciplined my kids, I never intervened.
Mm.
Never. We're always on that islet right here.
Of
You
course, of
you
course, of course.
discipline. Even if I don't like something and we have to talk about it, it's never gonna be where the kids see.
Right.
Because I'm gonna tell you about those little autistic little kids. They know.
Yeah.
They
Yes.
know. So I ran behind him and I kind of tried to put the shoes on. And Gary came behind me and he goes, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You're gonna die. I'm gonna die. And then what's gonna happen to Jahleke?" That's a Jim. My heart
Mm.
was like,
Wow.
but I tell my parents this. I had to get on the same wavelength with Gary.
Yeah.
The next day, Jahleke had his shirt back to front. Oh man, it was breaking my heart. But today, thank God, Jahleke could take his own shower. Jahleke could
Wow.
put his own clothes on. He puts
Wow.
Jahleke takes up a little notch. Jahleke dresses himself. And he will
Good.
come, he would tell his dad, he's like, "Dad, you What? I'm good. I'm fresh. And when you look at him, like, he coordinates his own stuff. You know, I would tell parents if there is definitely a mom and a dad in a house, they need to be on the same wavelength.
Mm, mm,
Because if that disconnect is there, trust me, we will not get anything done.
it's true.
Mom cannot just be the head, like doing one, and then dad do some. No, we all have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
When I tell you
Yeah.
on the same page,
Yeah.
and Jahleke is now so self-sufficient.
Mm,
Jahleke, I leave on vacation. I try to do like one international trip every year,
yeah.
and now I could go in peace.
Oh, Neeshawn.
Now
You, well,
I travel, and when I don't travel with him,
yeah.
I could call him. I was like, hey, what you doing? He's like, oh, mom. And of course our house have all kind of cameras, so we steadily always checking in on him,
Okay, good.
but
Good.
there's cameras that we talk, and I would tell Gary, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be in a spot where I can't see him. And then of course he have two sisters that's definitely a support for him, who
Awesome.
he is.
But Nishan, tell me a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
Before we begin to wrap up. This might be a hard question, and so we're just
Mhm.
gonna go out there with it. And please correct me if I don't get the terminology right.
You
Is
got it.
it is it is it you have a son with autism or that you have an autistic son?
For me, it's funny because I still tongue twisted.
Gotcha.
I am in the field, and I'm like, I'm a mama of autism. I have a son with autism. Some people make it a big deal. I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I don't even see autism for my son. I see my son.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
I don't, and that's what I told them today in the live. I also told them, I said, you guys didn't see a disability. You saw my son.
Very well. Oh, very
And I want
well.
people to understand that, like, you don't see the disability. If you bypass the disability, see your child, and
Mm,
people would be like, well, Jahleke is so well behaved. Jahleke wasn't always well behaved. Jahleke
yeah.
had meltdowns.
Mm,
Jahleke had tantrums. Jahleke bit people. It was I
yeah.
had people tell me, I never think he could ever.
But Nishan, I knew. Like I'm thinking about our classroom. I mean, it was no problem for Jahleke to do his work. I mean, he was a beast with that math, I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
It was no problem for him to read before students. It was no problem for him to help with passing out items. And here's what I did as a teacher. I didn't lean on Jahleke to do the soft things. Like, oh, pass out papers or stand in line. No, Jahleke, come up here and do this math. Here go your whiteboard and your marker. Come on,
Yeah,
you can do it. It was Jahleke. It was our students.
he
All
was a
right, all right,
student.
Jahleke, you're gonna do this math intervention right here. Jahleke, where's that homework? Jahleke, Jahleke. All right,
Mm-hmm.
Jahleke, you did it. Let's go. And it wasn't all, and I knew Jahleke was gifted with music and dancing, but what I was mindful of was like, nah, we not gonna be entertaining 24/7 because I want your intellect to shine. I want people
Yes,
to see the intellect, and then we could do some of that entertainment. So it
yes,
was we got scores, we got work. Come
yes,
on, Jahleke, let's go.
yes.
So I'm not surprised. And you came in fierce, advocating. And I said, sis, I got you. Me and the good Lord got
Yes,
you. Come on, let's
yes,
go. We finna do
yes,
it. So,
yes,
so, so
yes.
Neeshawn, here's my question for you. Because when I was teaching at that school, Phyllis Wheatley, I can't remember if I know I had like 19 or 20 kids.
Right,
And different levels, different abilities.
right.
And I didn't know much about autism. I think I just knew, all right, Jessica, you gotta try it this way with them. That was it. So there was no books, no courses. And I'm not, I'm not shaming anyone, now I know better.
Mm-hmm.
But I say that because we were in a predominantly Black community.
Correct.
And so my question to you as this phenomenal Black mother, as this queen, um, what do we need to be better at in the Black community
Hmm.
when it comes to autism? Because now I'm meeting more parents, Black parents,
Right,
who have children with autism or who have autistic kids. Forgive me to
right.
everybody watching,
No,
forgive me for my
girl,
terminology,
you
right?
good.
But what can we do? And some of them will tell me, like, I started learning when my child was 11 or 12. And in the back of my head, I'm like, ooh, how come they weren't educated at a young age?
Acceptance. Accept you,
So,
you,
so
you,
talk to us. Talk
you know
what do
you know
we
what's the biggest thing for me with my parents
do?
is we're always in denial.
Oh,
That's the biggest thing. It's you
hmm,
know I still have parents
hmm,
asking me, do you think my kid is going to get better? Can I tell you yes? Can I tell you no? I
hmm,
can't, right? We are always in denial. We do that.
hmm.
So if you're in denial, you can't go far. You can't say, okay, my
Oh,
son have a problem. Let
hmm,
me,
hmm,
go to it. My son have never, and I'm just gonna tell you this. Jahleke have never had ABA. Now my ABA, that's what I'm seeking.
yeah,
I'm an ABA therapist, right?
yeah.
But my son never had it, right? I did
Hmm.
old school ABA, like my mama that did us, right? All right. So,
Yeah.
but he had speech. He had
Yeah.
OT.
Yeah. Yeah. He did.
Let's talk about OT.
Yeah.
Jahleke went out. He couldn't write. He could. I don't know if you remember this
I
meeting when we
remember.
went in.
Hmm.
He could. The school year before he went out, Jahleke was scribbles wobbling,
Yeah.
and then when we came back in,
Yeah.
they dismissed him. Why? They said, "I don't know who this kid is. He's
Mm.
writing. He's. You know
Mm.
what
I
it is?
remember.
Mommy did this thing. I was unemployed.
Yeah. Mm.
Section 8. See, people don't
Mm.
understand that. Like they see us now and they say, "Oh my God, they did so well." I didn't. I told this guy, I said, "Listen, I wasn't always eating steak. I was
Yeah.
eating chicken and bologna at one point. So let me just put it out there." And what
Mhm.
I did, because I knew I couldn't hold a job as much, I had to think. God put me in a position where I was on Section 8, but I was good, right?
Yeah.
I had this little bit of money and I was able to sustain my kids. They was going to school. It was clean. It was, you know what I did? Instead of just staying home and laying down and
Yeah.
relaxing, every day Jahleke had to read. Every day
Yeah.
Jahleke had to write. Every
Yeah.
day Jahleke. If you do
Yeah.
not pour into your kids,
Mhm.
there is no reason a child should reach the high school. And I could say this. I don't care what cognitive level there is, unless their limbs impair them, right? They
Mm.
should not be potty trained.
That's bold, Neeshawn. That's bold.
I just have to tell you the truth. There
Mm.
is no reason our babies should reach to high school and cannot take care of their hygiene.
Mm.
No,
Mm.
somebody have failed them. We as society,
Mm.
we as a parent, accept. Some people acceptance too is this. My kids was just gonna be there, and it's easier for me to just bathe their skin. And it's no, you have crippled them.
Mm.
And back
Mm.
to my story with me and Gary,
Yeah.
when you die, your kid is gonna suffer when they go to this place called a group home.
Oh. Oh.
See, this conversation could keep going all night.
So let's wait. Two more questions, and we'll have you come back for a part two. But uh, a quick comment, and then the two final questions. I remember when the occupational therapist would come in the classroom, and I remember saying, and it was someone else who would come, and, they would come and grab Julie, for X amount of minutes, and I remember saying one day, he has a test. He needs to be back in 10 minutes. Like I was mindful of, and no, I didn't stop him from I did not stop him from receiving services, but I was
Right,
mindful of like, give me my student back.
right,
Like I'm teaching the hell out of them. Like, give them
right,
back. Or you know what? You could take some of the work I'm doing and you can go work on that in the
right.
OT class. So, but because I knew his intelligence, and I knew the work that you were doing. And then Gary would come with us on the field trips. Like I just, so when they say no child left behind, that goes for all kids,
All kids,
all
all
kids.
kids,
And
all
and
kids,
I just,
all kids. It's and with our babies though, it is definitely a collaboration, right?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
have my part to do. So I'm gonna give you an example. Like when I do therapy, if my client, I'm gonna go with my client. If my client cannot sit, the behavior impedes or distracts them from getting OT, then they're out of service. That's just how it is, right?
Mm.
So without my presence there, which is the reality, without me being there and putting these learning strategies into place, then they
Yeah,
would be out of these other services. So what I
yeah.
say to that, if you have a teacher and a speech and an OT, that's a team.
Mm.
Everybody on the same page, we
Yep,
gonna make something happen.
yep. It's
We
true.
gonna,
That's key.
meaning if
That's
Jahleke have a
key.
test,
That's
that
key.
means one of us should be like, bet, Jahleke, remember this strategy. Hey, I
That's
use it.
key.
So
Oh,
when I
huge.
see, when we go into these kids, we
Yeah,
always have to have a strategy. We also have
yeah.
to have a plan. We just
Mm.
don't willy-nilly it all the time.
Not at all.
You
Mm-mm.
can't.
Mm-mm.
And every kid is so different, Dr. J. It's
Mhm.
like, what do we do with Jahleke that we can't do with Neeshawn? You can't
Right.
use the same plan for two people because it doesn't always work.
Yeah. Mm.
You know how Jahleke started with his like articulating speech through music.
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
His speech therapy, his name is Neil, still my friend today. And let me see, did I cuss him out? I didn't cuss him out.
Okay, you didn't cuss about.
No, I ain't cuss that one out. And he said, Neeshawn, the part of Jahleke brain, and I can't remember the term, the part of the brain that's not supposed to be working. That's the part that connects sounds, and it would
Okay.
connect beats and stuff like that, right? That's
Mhm.
the part of his brain that doesn't work.
Huh.
But yet that's the part he uses. Ain't that something? Talk about who Jahleke
Yeah.
really is. So the part of his brain that scientists and neurologists said is dysfunctional is a part that he actually uses. And the part that works, he does, which is the cognitive side, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Function, but not function as much.
Yeah.
So what he did was design a program specifically
You're
for
kidding.
Jahleke.
You're kidding.
And I used to be like, what?
Wow.
He would be using
Wow.
term like la 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 la. And I was like, what is Neil doing? And then by the time I look, when I tell you at teamwork, today I told them that too. Jahleke is in karate.
Oh,
Do I think he's gonna be a karate? He have two black belts, and Jahleke still can't hurt a fly.
you
Two
serious?
black belts and still cannot hurt a fly.
Oh,
Sometimes Dr. J, I'm like, hit the board. He's like, but guess what? It taught him coordination.
really?
It taught him how to do multiple steps. Think about it. You have to ha 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 ha,
Yep.
use turn around, spin. These are multi. So I want to end with this one thing. You know, I stay battling the school even though I work for them, right?
Yeah.
So Jahleke was denied the CBVE program from Bukaiva. And when
Mm.
I was there, so he was deprived for the first half of this school year. He just stayed
Mm.
in the classroom, clearly doing nothing. He got bored, and every day was a struggle to get him to go to school. He'll be like, I'm done, I'm graduated, because he knew we did this whole big celebration. He graduated. Like, what happened?
Mhm.
And then he said, Ma, I'm done with school. I'm done.
Mhm.
I'm done. I said, what do you do at school? Hang out with my friends. Because they forget these kids talk too, you know? And by the time I did some digging, he really was just hanging out in the classroom with his friends. No.
Really? Mm.
So
Mm.
who Jahleke is, Dr. J, let me leave this with you real quick.
Please.
Jahleke have changed a lot of rules and regulations based on the mistakes that these people have made with him.
Wow.
So because of Jahleke, somebody else kid is going to get a fighting chance.
Mm.
They left him back in the classroom. They said that, so they continue trying to lie and lie and lie and lie. By the time I got to the meeting, you know who his mama is? One lady told them, I am warning you guys. If you guys do not have your ducks in a row, do not go to the table with Jahlike's mom.
Wow.
Just know by the time I was done, a whole policy was written based on Jahleke not being able to go to a program that clearly now he is the face of Orange County. Today, he's on the news for Orange. Yo,
Oh,
today, Spectrum 13 came to interview your student that you poured into
mm,
as an individual that they looked
mm,
at me on a table when I said, tell me
mm,
why my baby can't leave campus. Well, he
mm,
regressed. I said, how? They couldn't
mm.
tell me. They tried to pick it apart. I was like, well, you're going to have to explain to Jahleke's crazy mother why.
But,
Today,
mm.
he is the face of Orange County.
So, but Neeshawn, I promise this is the last question.
No,
And
you good.
audience, we're gonna have a part two. We're gonna have a part two. But Neeshawn, tell me this. Um, as a parent, as an advocate, do you feel like you have to, I don't want to say be extra, but do you feel like you have to turn up the heat in order for people to take you seriously?
You know, it's sad to say it, but sometimes it's those drastic measures. And it's sad because we would assume like we know the kid needs extra support. We know the kid have this potential, but we would try to, and I would go a little step further, you know.
Hmm.
Sometimes even now that I'm in education, sometimes I see the stress of our teachers too. The other day I had to have this conversation. Same thing when I was talking about where you have the low ones and then the middle ones and then the
Yeah.
what do we do when there is no assistance in the classroom? Who gets left behind?
Hmm.
How do we touch everybody kid?
Hmm.
You know, so much of them and so little of us.
But
So yeah,
Nisha,
we have to be extra, but I know if I wasn't crazy mommy,
yeah.
Jahleke would have been nonverbal. Jahleke
Wow.
would have been probably, and you know, it hurts me when I say that because that was the expectation. I believe a lot of
Mm.
I believe in manifestation. I believe in whatever. That's how come I'm very particular when people talk about words pertaining to my kids or to
Mm.
me. And
Yes,
you know, when
ma'am.
you start saying like certain things, like, well, you will never do this and you will never do that,
I
and
rebuke
I'm
it.
very, I, I, I am very, very hard on that because I understand the power of your tongue, right? And every day, every day, I speak over my son, and they don't understand that he have a destiny, and that's just the way I speak about my boy, the way how I do.
Yeah.
Yes, we have to go that extra mile. So to
Yeah.
answer your question is yes, you have to go to the Senate office if that's what it takes.
Okay.
I have already called DCF on the school.
Yeah.
I have already I did it twice, actually. Twice. Yeah, twice. I did it to a private school and I also did it to the public school.
Yeah.
And I would do it all over again. And I would advise any parent in my predicament when they say, well, look, she looked well dressed. And I love when they go like, well, she have her jewelry. No, 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 sweetheart. No, I was a food stamp recipient,
Mm.
welfare recipient.
Mm.
I had to drop out of college couple times, not
Mm.
once or twice. I got
Mm.
my bachelor's when my grandbaby was born. That was 4 years ago. She's gonna
Oh,
be
congrats.
5. And then
Mm.
when I finished, I told Gary, I was like, I can't be done. He
Wow.
was like, well, go for it. And then I would go a step further and I would tell people, try not to do it by yourself.
Yeah. Mm.
If you could find a group of really, really supportive people, you know, when I do this thing over Facebook, like every day I try to, you know, people ask me, is this true? Yes, it's true, very much so. My uncles them answer his phone calls. Sometimes he's just like, hello, uncle, you good? You okay? Okay, bye. Look,
Oh.
he don't even give you a chance. You just hang up.
I believe
You're
it.
done. Yeah, you're done. So who Jahleke is? Jahleke is a game changer.
Yes.
Jahleke have changed these people's rules and regulation. When they see Jahleke name, they're like, oh my God. They have to come correct. And it's sad. You ask me if we have to be a little extra, you have to show a little crazy.
Mm.
Yeah. You know, like even after this, I would explain some of the crazy because we'll take all night, all tomorrow to talk
Mhm.
about it.
Mhm.
And a lot of times I tell people, I am your associate. When it comes to Jahleke, I'm your associate. Because in a
Yes.
heartbeat, you become my enemy when it comes to him.
I hear that. Go on ahead,
You're my
Neeshawn.
associate. When we get to that table, and this same meeting, when this is we was on this meeting, and the lady, I don't know if you remember this one, when the lady came from the district, she was tall and
Mm-hmm.
bald headed, and she came in, she's like, I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do. And you were sitting next to me. I let her go. I was like, no, honey, I'm gonna tell you. And I
Oh.
remember you doing like this.
Yep, just like I'm holding.
I remember you doing like this. Everybody was like, oh God, oh God. I was like, and you know what was so crazy? After the meeting, while I'm still fired up, she come and give me a hug and she said, good job, girl. Keep fighting for your kid. Could you imagine that?
Neeshawn.
Ain't
Neeshawn.
that crazy?
Very.
So they want us to fight for our kid. And I don't think we should have to, because
Mm.
Dr. J, I'm going to tell you, it's not fun when you suffer from high blood pressure because
Mm.
parents like me every day in the hospital, Lord.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
have this, you're gonna be sick. Parents, take care of yourself. Let me tell you that. Take
Mm.
care of you because a dead you is no use to them.
Yeah, I hear
And
that.
I remember leaving an IEP meeting and I heard Gary, like, I could faintly hear him laughing. He was like, Freddie, you fell down this. And he found me to the end of the stairs. And I could still, because, we always on joke time in my house.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember hearing him, Freddie, just calling me, Nish, Nish, Nish. And I started crying like when I was like, I'm going to die. They're going to kill me because I don't know what's happening. Should I just keep Jahleke home? I don't know what to do. And it's not a good feeling.
Mm.
This thing take a toll. I don't think principals or
Mm.
counselors or they understand what parents really go through every
Mm.
day.
Mm.
When now I'm finding a little bit of peace with this school. I thought it was over till the other day, like I was just saying about him changing the policies on the CBVE program.
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought it was over for a while because he met some good teachers too, very good teachers that
Absolutely.
supported him,
Yeah.
very amazing teachers that wanted to see him go. And then it just kind of went downhill.
Mm.
And then my crazy had to come back. So
Oh,
parents,
goodness.
yes, you still have to be crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's okay to do it. It's okay to go up there and tell them, listen, this is my homeschool. You will service him. You will service her. Oh, well, show me by law. What does this mean? You know, I'm gonna tell parents if they keep telling you about self-contained. I know now the new law is that we can't tour the unit because of privacy. You have to know your kid.
Yeah, yeah.
See, my vision for my baby, it was I wanted a normal boy. And I think one of my posts I said I used to always ask guy, why my boy?
Mm.
Such a handsome, well-built, why him?
Mm.
And I remember when I heard this, why not you?
Ha. All right. All right, Neeshawn. Okay.
Why not you? And I'm like, because I'm a motherless kid. I just can't. I
Mhm.
just my dad, I'm a fatherless kid. Why me? I'm stressed. Why me? Why you didn't give it to somebody else? Because I don't like this. I don't want this.
Mm.
But look at him. Jahleke almost died twice on me. He almost drowned because he was, these kids are drawn to water. So twice he almost drowned.
Mm.
I don't know why they're drawn to water, but they're so drawn to water. And I don't know, twice, twice. The last time I know is the hand of God just took my, it was funny because he was, and I said, Jahleke, stay right there.
Mm.
And he could run. The boy could run,
Oh, yes. Oh,
like
yes.
Flash Gordon run.
Oh, yes. Yes, I know.
And Jelana was just like, I said, sister, she's like, Mom, I want to pee. I wanted this. I was like, oh my God, Jelana. And then I heard people screaming. It was like, oh, I said, dang, somebody kid over there drowning. Girl, I just saw something like it just held Jahleke head up like this. And in a blink of an eye, I almost lost my son. I had to run down in a pond, me and my friend, to get Jahleke out of the pond. Girl, these autistic kids, these kids with autism,
Oh,
you gotta be in shape.
Lord, 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 Lord.
Parents, you have to be in shape
Okay.
mentally and physically.
spiritually too. Well,
Oh
look,
yeah.
it's we're gonna wrap up, Neeshawn. I'm asking
Yes.
right now. Please, can we do a part two?
Of
Please, can we do a
course.
follow up? Because
Of
we just
course.
scratched the surface, and I know you have more information to share, and I know I have many more questions to share.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
I sing high praises to you. Thank you for doing God's work. Thank you for allowing us to be blessed by your son. He is an angel indeed.
Yes.
I know from experience, complete joy, completely smart, going
Yes.
places. So when you say game changer, he's a game changer and you're a powerhouse. So look out, world.
Oh,
So look out, world. Look out. There's
yes. I
more to come.
received that. And let me tell you, girlfriend, you know how we love you over here. And I
Thank
cannot wait to tell Gary your success. I'm gonna be like,
you.
listen,
Thank you. Thank you. In my
if I
regard.
could vote for you, I will. And
Thank
I'm
you.
campaigning for you. Let me know. I'm a big campaigner girl.
You are too much. Well,
But I
I'm going to
love you
close
with
out the
all my
show,
heart.
but hang
Thank
on,
you.
hang tight. I'm going to close out the show and say to my hashtag, it could have been me, family. Like, subscribe, share, drop a comment, drop some fire emojis because this episode was completely on fire. So hugs and kisses to Neeshawn and to Jahleke. I hope to see him
Yes.
soon and share my praises with him. But family, until we meet again, Neeshawn, we're going to do a part two.
Yes,
Hang
ma'am.
tight and we'll make it happen. So thank you once
It
again
was my
for
pleasure.
being here.
Yes. Thank you.
All right.